Today we have the full story of what Jared did to be the broke 17-year-old just out of high school, failing in an agency, failing in really any business he had tried up to this point, to then dipping his toes into sales, sucking at it, then making one quick change and making consistently $200,000 to $300,000 a year as a remote sales rep. You're not going to want to miss this story. Jared's got some great nuggets in here, so watch the full thing. Let's go inside.
So I graduated high school at the age of 17 years old. I looked into so many things like drop shipping. Drop shipping was actually my first bet. I didn't know that you had to spend so much money on like ads. You had to test out different products. If one store failed, you got to try another one. And on top of that, if you wanted to scale something, you had to put money into it. And being 17 years old, I just didn't have like tens of thousands of dollars to be able to gamble on anything. So that was like, that's a no-go. I then tried social SMMA, social media marketing agency. I bought a course from like a couple of different people. And the lifestyle that was advertised was not the one that I was expecting.
Mm.
And it honestly like wasn't the reality that was true to me. And I'll tell you why. Because when I saw those courses and all these different advertisements, it looked very simple. It's like hire someone else to do the work, go on a couple of sales calls, follow a certain script, and you'll land like one, two, three clients, and you'll be doing 10K per month, and it's going to be so easy.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not going to like tell you the whole process, but I will tell you that from the age of like 17 to 18, for a whole year, that's all I did. I'd sent like cold emails to a bunch of people, and some weeks I didn't even have any meetings. The meetings that I did have, I would follow the script and it would fail tremendously. And the one thing that I learned that because I was always figuring out like why are some people successful at this business model and why do I suck at it? And the underlying factor was always just because like I just didn't have sales experience. Other people did. They came from corporate or they've had different sales jobs, and I didn't have that. And so I was like, let me just put this whole SMMA thing to the side. I might start it in the future, but the main thing that I need to learn now is sales. A lot of successful CEOs, founders, they all start in sales. So a friend of mine ended up actually working for a guy named Rob Quinn, very popular in the industry. And he got me to get into high ticket sales. Didn't know exactly what it was, but I just knew that you're selling products that are like above $3,000. You get commission out of it, and it's good practice either way if I wanted to start my business again. So I ended up looking around, looking at the market. He ended up referring me to you, ended up becoming your setter. That was nice. Made some money from that. I would cringe if I like listened to my sales calls back then. I don't know what it was, dude. I was just like so nervous to be on calls with people. I would always have to follow the script. And I just had this weird reactive, like, I guess like limiting belief to like money. It was hard for me to like to be able to collect money and to be able to be convicted that the money that I'm collecting is actually going to help the prospect, which is probably why I was so nervous. I just could not sell anything to someone. I think this kind of goes back to when I was a kid, where my parents were always like, "You have to save. Don't take money from people if you're not going to give back," or something like that. I just had a limiting belief around money, but skill set level, I was pretty shit. Couldn't talk to anyone. I was an introvert. It was hard to do that, but I guess like when I left your offer and I just got a lot more reps, where I started to get good, and it could have been better. Like the way that it was done could have been a lot better, but a lot of the skills that you'll learn as a salesperson, it's definitely going to come through a course. But if you don't use that course and take it out in the field, it's not going to really matter. When I got good, it was when I was taking like, and this is like extensive. I don't recommend anyone doing this, but it was me taking like 10 to 12 calls a day, sometimes 15. I wouldn't even have a bathroom break unless someone no showed, right? And if you multiply like 15 times 30, then I suck at math. I think every salesperson sucks at math, but 15 times 30, that's a big number. That's roughly how many calls that I
450.
had, maybe. Yeah. So a bit under 450 calls per month, multiply that by a year was how many sales calls that I had. And I guess just having those reps helped out a lot. And honestly, dude, like you were I guess my foundation to like learning all those things, like Socratic selling, Socratic dialogue. That was the foundation of me being able to like go from being a salesperson to from me being a salesperson to me to actually being able to actually serve someone because there's a huge difference.
And obviously at my offer, I wasn't selling enough. Our company was a little too small. It couldn't give you the
Yeah,
income goals you were looking for. But then like you took those skills and you graduated onto a bigger company with a more expensive offer, and that was the company then that you made like those serious big income checks.
yeah, absolutely.
And you were like your biggest month there was like 30, 31, thirty two
31.
thousand, but like you were probably averaging anywhere between like 15 to 20 on that offer.
Yeah, it was I think average is like 13, 14K, give or take.
Nice.
Not counting
Nice.
taxes. We're not going to talk about taxes. It still gives me PTSD. I'm now working an offer known as Springs Rejuvenation. We sell stem cell therapy, stem cell exosomes to people that either need like um, help with their hair, their joints, even like erectile dysfunction, which is pretty cool. And just because of those skills and like the people that I've met and the skills that I've been able to capitalize on, I'm able to just go anywhere where I want around the world whenever I want to. There's no limitations. Obviously, like when you're living the digital nomad lifestyle, like you just have a lot more freedom. And a lot of the stories that a lot of the things that I imagined when I was like 13, 14 years old of like what life should be like or how life I wanted it to be is something that I can live now just because I have the skill set to be able to do that. There was no difference in the lifestyle that I lived when I was making $10,000 a month versus like $20,000 a month. It's very important to like know what you actually want to make sure that the money that you're making actually attributes to that. Because you don't want to sacrifice mental bandwidth just to make more money. Like when I was making 25, 30K, I was kind of miserable because I was taking like 12 sales calls a day. But dude, like making 10, 15K, I only got to take like five, six calls a day. And I'd be a lot more fulfilled. I don't like using the word happy. I just think it's like an emotion that we feel that comes and goes. But I was a lot more fulfilled and I was able to do more things, making 10, 15.
Talk a little bit more about just like how having a mentor in your corner and how like having me in your corner or whatever like helped you grow or at any point in your life with any manager you've had grow.
Yeah, when I was in this SMMA course and we were all like doing like these mock calls, it was cool like having someone on my side to be able to kind of coach me. But when I was in that course for SMMA, it wasn't a sales course. Like no one was teaching you sales. And so when you get advice from people and when you get advice from people that don't have that specific skill set and don't have the numbers, they can give you false information that you think is right, but you're still going to take it in because you think it's right. So you could do mock calls with a bunch of experienced people, boost up your ego and think you're doing the right things. But the truth is, you don't know what you don't know, especially if you're talking to someone that doesn't know their shit. So, like, in theory, dude, like, you could go into sales, make a lot of money, do it the hard way, and just take, like, do what I did, like 15 calls a day and get good. Or you can cut that time in half, get a course or like get a mentor. And it has to be the right person. Like, you have to vibe with them. I don't care who it is. Like, if I don't vibe with the person, I think like the person's like bullshit. I'm not going to invest with them. But having a person on your side that's the right person to work with, it's going to cut your time in half. It's going to allow you to make more money, cut your time in half, and just you'll see things that you've never seen before and you're going to thank them. And the way that I would look at it, if a course like is like 3,000 or 6,000 or 9,000, whatever amount it is, if that person, like I always ask myself this question, if this person teaches me this one thing that's able to make me at least just like one more sale per day, that's going to allow me to like have an ROI within like a month or so. Like the money is going to come back to you. It's just how fast you want it to come to do that. I tried so many things like SMMA, drop shipping. I had like four stores. We can talk about that. You can ask me follow-up questions, but
Hmm.
it's much easier just having one skill and just being a specialist in one thing rather than like roaming to different areas and having to figure it out.
How much like from the start of your entrepreneur journey to actually making serious
Oh,
income, how
from the start, you're talking about like from the beginning.
yeah, when you first set your ambitions on making good money online.
Well, I was 17, dude, like I'd say 2.5 years, two and a
Okay.
half years of just trial and error.
How long realistically do you think if someone would had the right mindset, attitude, was hungry with the right mentor and they just listened to that mentor, how long do you think it would take like that person to make like 10K in a month doing
I'm
so?
not gonna tell you what I think. I'm gonna tell you what I've seen. So for because like dude, like you can buy any course or not buy a course. I just know that if a person wants to do something, they'll get it done. And for the people that like actually want to get something done and have the full intention that it is going to be done, from what I've seen personally, it depends on the person. But if you go through a course, get help, get a job, making the income goals that a person wants, I think most people want to make 10K. That's always like the most common income goal per month. It doesn't have to take that long. Like I'd say like 6 to 7 months max. Because when you get into an offer, you obviously like have to ramp up and stuff. But I've also seen closers that have gone through a course, which should take like less than a month, get into an offer the next month, again, like some even shorter, and start to ramp up. Because when you get into an offer, you do have to ramp up, which takes about a month to get the offer acumen, the skill set, and to get used to like talking to those prospects. So 2.5 months, say you're in an offer, I'd say by month 4 or 5, you should be fully ramped up. And you'll be 2 years ahead from where I was at 17 years old.
Well said.
Yeah.
And you've seen that before in your industry, working with tons of different guys on your sales team.
It's painful to see because when I see those types of guys, I just think of like where I was when I was 17 and I like should have just gone into sales. Whether it was just like get a job or get a mentor, I should have just started in sales.
What type of guy are you seeing that's like painful? What type of guy is that? Describe
The
that guy.
the guy that just like doesn't start SMA, doesn't start drop shipping, and just figures out that you just need one skill set to do that.
So
Yeah,
you hate him because you ain't him. You wish you were him.
exactly. Exactly. Yeah.